Mankind has always been pressed for time, but never more so than in American business in the 1980s. For instance, some people are so obsessed with saving time that they don't read the Wall Street Journal, which is rather odd, considering how little time it can take. In just a few minutes, the Journal's front page gives you summaries of the day's most important business developments. Of course, if you have a little more time, you can dig a little deeper and discover how efficiently organized the Journal really is. Now, granted, reading the Journal doesn't exactly save you time. It just helps you spend it more wisely.
Call 800-336-1111 for this special introductory offer. 13 weeks for just $29.50 with a money-back guarantee. 13 weeks, $29.50. Phone 800-336-1111 now for the Wall Street Journal. Alan Abelson, the editor of Barron's.
You usually buy a stock in the expectation that it's going to go up. The problem is you're buying it from someone who's equally convinced that it's going down. This sobering observation is brought to you by Barron's. Because the difference between happiness and unhappiness in such exchanges often comes down to who's better informed. And that's where we can help, with weekly updates on thousands of stocks and bonds, interviews with insightful stock pickers, reports on promising companies, and one of the most complete statistical digests published anywhere. Of course, you could ignore all that and trust your luck. But then Barron shows up every week without fail, which is more than you can say for luck.
Subscribe to Barron's now and get 26 weeks for only $41 with a money-back guarantee. Call 800-228-5500. 800-228-5500.
It's time now for Instant Replay, brought to you by Polaroid Spectra System. We take your pictures seriously. Wow. What do you say after a performance like that? Roger Clemens pitching a gem tonight. Hello again, everyone. I'm Paul Guggenheimer, back at our NESN studios. The final of tonight's game, Red Sox 3 and Seattle 1. 20 strikeouts for Roger Clemens, a new major league record for 9 innings. Roger Clemens striking out a man in every inning. He struck out the side 3 times. He had 9 strikeouts by the 4th inning, 12th by the 5th, in all 20. Right now, let's go down to the field and join Sean McDonough with his post-game guest, Roger Clemens.
Yeah, I know. We'll let you out. We'll just ask you one question. Thank you very much, Roger Clemens. If you could, if it's possible, just describe for us your emotions and what you're feeling right now.
It's impossible to tell my feelings right now. That last inning was adrenaline only, and I just thank the man in the sky for being behind me all the way. I give all the credit to him, and for me being out here and coming back from Carnage. It's been a long, hard road back, and it just feels good to go out there and win like that.
Were you aware going along of all the records that you were breaking along the way? Were you being kept posted on that?
Nip said something towards the end of the game there, but I just, like I said, I knew I was throwing well, but I just, like I said, the guy over there was throwing a good game for them, and I was trying to keep the momentum over here. And, Dewey came back with a big home run, and that picked me up and started...
what were you feeling after the Thomas home run? You had to be awfully discouraged. Here you are on a record-setting performance, and yet you're in jeopardy and in trouble as far as maybe winning the ball game is concerned.
Well, sometimes that happens, and I was challenging guys, and Gorman's their big man to do that. So you got to be careful there and not get carried away when you're throwing the ball like that. But those things are going to happen. I might give up 30 home runs this year. It seems like I'm giving up one every time I pitch, but. I like to go after guys, and sometimes I get the ball up, that happens.
Roger, I know you got to get inside. There's obviously a lot of people who want you. We really appreciate you coming out here, and congratulations on a record-setting performance.
Thanks.
Roger Clemens, our guest, a new Major League record, striking out 20 Seattle Mariners tonight. Let's go back to whoever.
Well, this is whoever, Paul Guggenheimer, back at our NESN studios. I should mention that the Polaroid Strikeout Challenge, which basically works this way, Polaroid awards $50 for every Red Sox strikeout to the Jimmy Fund. If a Red Sox pitcher strikes out 10 batters in a game, $1,000 is awarded by Polaroid to the Jimmy Fund. Tonight, not only was $1,000 awarded, but they might have to create a new category after Roger Clemens set a new Major League record, striking out 20 batters tonight against the Seattle Mariners, a 3-1 Red Sox victory. In a moment, we'll join Ned and Monty for their final thoughts on his historic game when the instant replay continues.
world of art. Fluid, inspired, fueled by passion, and bound only by man's imagination. The world of science. Logical. Mathematical. The purest distillation of information. But throughout time, when logic and order have meshed with inspiration and imagination, the results have been some of man's greatest accomplishments. On May 5th, Polaroid Corporation will introduce the Spectra system, and the world of science and the world of art will become one.
The Red Sox have defeated the Seattle Mariners tonight by a score of 3-1. Roger Clemens striking out 20 Mariners, a new Major League record. Right now, let's go back upstairs and join Ned and Monty for their final thoughts on tonight's historic contest. Gentlemen?
Well, this is kind of anticlimactic, but boy, it was fun. I mean, to see Roger Clemens break a Major League record on a night when he almost had to do something. He was in a tight ball game and lost, or was behind at one time, 1-0 on the Gorman-Thomas homer. But it went like this. The Red Sox had 3 runs, 8 hits, 1 error. They left 7, and some of those left on bases looked awfully big for a while. The Mariners, 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error, and 2 left on, and 20 strikeouts. Home run by Gorman-Thomas to spoil the shutout, and at one time put the Mariners ahead. And then Roger was helped the next half inning on a 3-run job by Dwight Evans, which did the job for him. Actually, why he'd be going into the 9th inning, striking out 20 and losing a ball game. Wouldn't that be something?
Well, I don't know that you could still hold your head up. I don't think there's any question about whether Roger could do that or not. But Ned, you've seen a lot of those in history. You saw Mambo Ketch, you saw Nolan Ryan's in Anaheim that we talked about, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of other exciting games along the line. We've seen a Rigetti no-hitter. I don't know. As I mentioned earlier in the ball game, I actually had chills going down my spine when he got to about 7 or 8, and he was getting in. The people were really starting to get into the things here. Even the few 13,000 that were here, as you mentioned, there are probably 30,000 here by maybe July or August when they start talking about this thing. But as I mentioned, one point in the game, sometimes one pitch can make the difference in this ball game, and it did for each one of these pitchers. Really, one pitch by Roger had him on the shy end of the score, and then one pitch by Moore, because you got to tip your hat to Moore. I thought he did an excellent job
Any game
himself.
that you can do this at Fenway Park, you should win.
Well, you should. You know, we were talking earlier, you hate to waste a good starting pitching performance. We got one from Al Nipper early in the year. He made one bad pitch to Steve Balboni, hit him out of the ballpark here. He lose 1-0. So I don't know if they even out. I don't think anybody can ever tell you that. But one thing about it, this will be a thrill of my baseball career, watching what Roger Clemens did here tonight.
Oh, he was just so good. And one thing, he threw, 138 pitches. He did not walk a batter. Now, how about that, fan?
Had a lot of 3-2 counts, but he didn't walk anybody.
And in the 9th inning, of course, everybody stayed around to watch it with Spike Owen, who gets his bat on the ball. He struck him out to start the ball game, and then he struck him out, and that tied the record, and everybody came up. And you wondered if he had it in him for one more time at least to either strike out Bradley or Phelps. Bradley had fanned 3 times before, so had Phelps, so it didn't make much difference, and he got Bradley.
You know, the big thing, too, Ned, is that he did not play exactly power-type pitcher all night. We mentioned a couple of times that he was on the inside corner, he was on the outside corner. Matter of fact, I don't think he had very many pitches right in the middle of the plate the entire night. I don't know how many of his strikeouts he had that were right on the very edges of the plate, but he had a couple with strikeouts. But most had a couple of his strikeouts with breaking balls. But most of his strikeouts were coming on just the rare bat and hum, baby, here it is, and see what you can do with it. But as I said,
pitching,
he certainly was. He was just not a power guy winding up and throwing it.
So maybe the franchise has arrived. I mean, the way he's pitched so far in the 4 wins, why, a lot of good things can be expected of Roger Clemens. All hail to Clemens tonight. He struck out 20, set a Major League record, and the Red Sox beat the Mariners 3-1. Ned Martin along with Bob Montgomery, and back to you, Paul.
All right, thank you, Ned and Monty. And in a moment, we'll be back to take a look at the highlights of this game. One for the records, one for the archives. Roger Clemens striking out 20 in a 3-1 victory for the Red Sox. We'll be back in a moment when Instant Replay continues.
Every classic stage has its great players, and Fenway Park has had its share of the best. Jimmy Fox, Ted Williams, yeah. And the Red Sox tradition at Fenway Park continues. Head to Fenway Park to see the Red Sox this season. Visit the Red Sox ticket office at 4 Yawkey Way or charge tickets by calling 267-1700. Red Sox baseball, a Boston tradition.
May, NESN delivers the best sports action in New England with live and exclusive coverage of the Red Sox as they take on the Angels, Indians, Rangers, and Twins. NESN's live coverage of Major League Baseball continues with games featuring the Royals, the White Sox, Orioles, Tigers, and A's. Plus, New England college lacrosse, wrestling from Boston Garden, boxing, and more. On NESN, we deliver. Welcome back to the Instant Replay. I'm Paul Guggenheimer back at our NESN studios, and for those of you who are watching the Celtics tonight, well, you missed a good one. Tonight at Fenway Park, the Red Sox face a Seattle Mariner team that has been mired in a deep, deep slump. Seattle had lost 9 of their last 11 games going into this one, batting only .137 during that period. So you might say it was not a good night for the Mariners to be facing Roger Clemens, the Red Sox best pitcher so far. Roger Clemens picking up right where he left off last Tuesday, striking out the side in the first inning.
What a pattern in that first inning for Roger Clemens.
And it continued in the second inning as Clemens gets Jim Presley swinging and Ivan Calderon looking to end it. Roger didn't allow a base hit until former Texas teammate Spike Owens singled to right in the fourth. But then Mr. Clemens just turned up the heat, getting Phil Bradley swinging, Ken Phelps swinging, and Stormin Gorman Thomas very confused.
Struck it out. Call on a running inside corner fastball. That's number 9 for Roger.
Fifth inning, Clemens painted the corners and didn't give an inch.
And 1 in the 5th so far. Strike 3. Calderon. 2-2 pitch. Strike 3. Clemens gets the side. He has now struck out 12 through 5 innings.
And then Roger started breaking records.
Got him. 13 and a new Red Sox record.
A team record 7 strikeouts in a row, and Steve Yeager made it 8 before Owen flied out to end the streak and the inning. The Fenway fans loving it. But let's not forget that former Lynn Sailor Mike Moore was tossing a pretty good game himself. Bottom of the 6th, runners at second and third. Moore gets Baylor swinging to end a threat. In the Seattle 7th, Clemens edges closer to a Red Sox 9-inning strikeout record, whipping Bradley and Phelps for his 15th and 16th, hoping Gorman Thomas would be the record tire.
Fly ball, straight away, center field, deep. Lyons right at the grill work. It's a home run.
Ooh. But in the stretch half of the 7th, the Sox got that back and more when Dwight Evans stepped to the plate with runners on first and second.
Taking Young's play. Drive deep to left center field. This ball is deep, deep, gone. It's a home run. 3-run homer for Evans. The Red Sox lead 3-1.
In the top of the 8th, Clemens went for the Red Sox 9-inning strikeout record.
Nothing in 2. Nothing in 3. Strike 3. 18.
Starting the 9th, Clemens was 2 away from the Major League record.
The record. 19 for Roger Clemens. Major League record tied. He has 2 batters to go to try to set a new one. Clemens has set a major league record for strikeouts in a game. 20.
And could Clemens make it 21?
To shortstop, Romero. Game's over, and Roger Clemens has fanned 20 for a new record. What a performance by the kid from the University of Texas.
20, as it turned out, was enough for Clemens, who set a new major league record, won the ball game tonight, did not walk a batter, going the route in a 3-1 Red Sox victory. After Roger grabbed the game ball, he ran over to the front row behind home plate and hugged his wife, and they, of course, couldn't have been happier. He was probably speechless, managed to explain some of his joy to Sean McDonough after the game. It was a magnificent and historic night at Fenway Park tonight. In a moment, we'll be back to wrap it all up for you and give you some out-of-town scores when Instant Replay continues.
Fueled by passion and bound only by man's imagination. The world of science. Logical. Mathematical. The purest distillation of information. But throughout time, when logic and order have meshed with inspiration and imagination, the results have been some of man's greatest accomplishments. On May 5th, Polaroid Corporation will introduce the Spectra system, and the world of science and the world of art will become one.
The Red Sox West Coast trip continues. Don't miss the action July 22nd and 23rd as the Sox take on the Oakland A's live from the Oakland Coliseum starting at 3:15. NESN, we deliver.